up, party people? Anna Morgan here with my buddy Trent Cotton, who is one of the speakers at the Evolve TA and HR Experience. We apologize for being a little tardy. If you didn't notice, just carry on, right? Little technology difficulties on my side. So we're going to keep it short and sweet, and excited to have my fellow enthusiast of French Bulldogs and also local to Atlanta. Also enjoys fashion and, just being an awesome people leader. And your fun title is actually the human capitalist. You just went through a new rebrand, right? So say hello, Trent. Tell everybody a little about yourself, and I'll shut up.
Awesome. Well, I do have to say, your intro was killer. That was quite the banger there. That was very nice. I might need to gank some of the music. I was like, oh, okay. Scared the hell out of me whenever it came on, but it was fantastic. So I am Trent Cotton. I am the Vice President of Talent and Culture at Hatchworks AI. Been in HR for 20 plus years. Got into HR because as a business leader, I hated working with HR and I thought that I could change it. 20 plus years later, I am still trying. So I've got a huge passion for elevating HR and getting rid of actually HR and talking more about human capital, because I define my job as being the person who is responsible for the largest expense and the largest revenue producing asset in any company, and that's its people.
I love that. I wasn't necessarily making that connection. And now that you said it out loud, I was like, damn. And that's a totally different presented to the executive level folks that, a lot of times see HR TA as transactional or disposable. Some of us in the
very disposable.
No, I love that. And again, probably why we, connected so nicely is that keep fighting the good fight and just trying to elevate people to be good humans. And are you there? I had a little internet swirly.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah. Right. So it's awesome. And that's actually what I love about this particular conference, because if there is, all of HR has been beaten down over the last 18 months to 2 years. If we go back to even 2020, there was this major shift, trying to get HR people to understand that analytics is important, and workforce planning is not just something that you do once a year. You always have the data that you need to be able to help your executives make very informed decisions.
Right.
I know a lot of organizations came to a screeching halt because they didn't have that, and they were trying to build it as the plane was flying, or in this case, crashing during the pandemic. Right. So I think that, we kind of got through that. And then the thing that I like about this conference is that TA has been beaten down. TA is always the whipping post of HR. If anything goes wrong, it's because we hired the wrong. Hey, Lily, there's my niece.
We just had to chime in and
she's so cute.
Say hello. Like I said, I was trying to teach her how to smile.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. That was good.
Well, you'll probably hear mine snoring. She's right over here, and she's laying on her side.
I've got Aurora snoring in the couch. But we're gonna love on some HR and TA folks, right? Yes. I had to order her a bigger bandana because the one I got, she's outgrown it and positively evolved. So
I love it.
She has a bigger one.
Oh, cute.
Today. Sorry.
No. You're good. You're good. So, we were just kind of talking about how it's time for TA to kind of be lifted up. And it's also a huge opportunity with AI. I think a lot of people that I talk to in the human resources space are either gung-ho, but don't really know where to gung-ho, or they are absolutely standing still and petrified. And that's why I like the topic that you gave
that
me because it
you're
was
bringing
like,
to the table. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
excited as well because, I feel like in my recruiting kind of community, TA folks, like, we're a lot of times the first for the cell phone, the first on social, the first to try new
hmm
platforms. And that's not so much the same for HR. And, I know it was a little polarizing to host an event for both human resources and TA,
right,
but I truly believe in the power of that collaboration of
hmm
those two disciplines, in service of elevating all of the work that we do. And, I've been in some rooms where recruiters have very strong opinions about HR and
oh
HR
yeah,
about TA. And, what if we create a learning experience where, they're building community, they're, being a champion of their own well-being and well-being of others, but also then,
hmm
you know, getting these up-to-date relevant tools and insights on how can I leverage AI to work smarter, to support my workforce management initiatives, to lead more effectively and ultimately affect the culture. So tease out a little bit more on what you're excited to share.
Well, I want to tack on to something you just said and go one step further. If I were to be a futurist and look at what does the HR department look like in 2028 through 2030, it's a
Hmm.
huge evolution. So, in large organizations, both of us have kind of worked in, you've got recruiting that sits in a silo, learning and development that sits in a silo, HRBPs, and then all the operations.
Right.
I really see a metamorphosis of HR departments.
Hmm.
And I mean, in fact, if I were to go and be the CHRO for a large organization, I would start this change today. Collapse the wall between learning and development and TA. Okay.
Love it.
Uh, I want talent advisors. So, talent
Mhm.
advisor is someone from the first hello through
Mhm.
onboarding, through check ins, through creating a learning plan. And that's how you build out that retention piece of it.
100%. Yeah.
Because over time, we're going to have these AI agents with agentic AI. We've already got it in some parts of the process, but it's a little
Mhm.
bifurcated. I think that we're going to be able to have in the new world. I am a talent advisor. I go and I meet with the manager, do the intake. I put the intake into an agent that helps me identify candidates, engage the candidates, even assess the candidates,
Mhm.
um, provide me a feedback. I go and actually do, the interview and the intake, but I'm spending more time going, hey, Anna, rather than going, do you have 5 years of experience in HR?
Right.
Do you know how to run payroll?
It
It's
fast
what
tracks those
drives you.
conversations.
Yeah, but I can go deeper. What drives you?
Mhm.
Paint that picture of what that perfect job, like what you do with your clients.
Mhm.
Most people in corporate America, they don't have the time to be able to do it. Agents are going to give that serious lift, and then I'm
Mm.
going to carry that person through the journey of their career. So that could be the first year, that could be the first 10 years,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
really being that talent advisor. So I'm excited about that, and that's one of the things that I'm working on trying to lead at Hatchworks is
Awesome.
I told my recruiters you're not going to be a recruiter this time next year. You're going to be a
Yeah.
recruiter plus. So what do you
I
want
mean,
that
I
plus to
think
be?
that's exciting. Part of me would be like, okay, let's go. And honestly, like I have such respect for, especially, just the IC recruiter, right? Because I feel like we're these, silent change agents within
Hmm.
organizations that we are already doing the recruitment marketing, the employer branding,
Right.
the high
Hmm.
touch onboarding experience, the managing up and teaching our hiring managers how to build equitable interview panels, how to ask legal and appropriate
Right.
interview questions. And that has all gotten so much easier with the help of AI. And I've, been able to utilize that in some of my consulting and contracts and a couple things I have in the works coming up the rest of 2025. I know, I'll continue to utilize it so that I can be that talent advisor. I, like you, have always seen myself as that person, but
Hmm.
many of our recruiting community have struggled to, adopt that mindset and kind of
Yeah.
almost step into that power and expertise and like trusting in what we actually know. Um,
Mhm.
and not taking that for granted. I think that's another reason why I wanted to create this experience, is that we do really impactful work. You know,
We do. We
you know,
do.
we're not driving an ambulance or operating on people, but you know, helping someone choose what they want to do primarily for, you know, 30, 40, 50 hours a week affects every single aspect of their life, their spouses, their
Hmm.
kids, their parents, their travel plans, all of those things. And we get to be a part of that decision. And, you know, I've never taken that lightly. And that's always what has gotten me excited when you know, my feet hit the floor in the morning to
Hmm.
get after it, you know?
You know, it's funny. I actually terminated a recruiter who was recruiting for entry to mid-level jobs, and I terminated her not because she didn't do a good job, not because she didn't hit her time to fill. It's because she didn't understand the importance of what she was doing. She looked down on it. She goes, "I should be doing the higher stuff. I should be doing this. I don't want to deal with these kinds of people." And it it pissed me off, because I mean, I was managing the group, of course, recruiting executives, but there were times that I'd jump in and help if, one of my
Yeah.
teammates was out. I missed working with people, with candidates, and they were so excited because this was the next level up for them. Wherever they were in their life, this was the
Yeah.
next level up. And I just remember telling her, I said, I hope that if you take another recruiting opportunity elsewhere, I hope you understand that you are not just affecting that person's life. You have the opportunity to make a generational change with this job offer. And until
Yes.
you realize that, I do not want you as a recruiter in the industry. I do not want you in our industry because you do not
Mhm.
represent what this function is really about. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's tough out there now for recruiters.
It is, and it's hard to remember, like, our why when I would say, I mean, you probably could find the data on this, but, like, what percentage of, you know, everyday full cycle recruiters have experienced a layoff in the last 5 years? I mean, my hunch is
57%.
I was gonna say close to 60, yeah, and
Hmm.
so, yeah, it's hard to be like, "I love recruiting," especially when you're getting bashed constantly on, you
Yep.
know, about ghosting or poor candidate experience or whatever, and that's
Hmm.
why I think there's going to be a big divide, you know, when the pendulum swings again and people are ready to hire to fill more positions, that it's going to be more challenging. When we had all of
Hmm.
that demand, what was it, at the end of 22? I
21. It was the end of
yeah,
21.
suspect that we are gonna have more of that, which is, you know, why personally I would like to focus more on placing talent advisors in the future as
Hmm.
a recruiting niche. There was something else you said, and I know I want to be conscientious of your time. Do you have to hop right at
Yeah.
10:30?
No, no, no.
Okay,
I've
you're
got
good.
some time.
5 minutes. Um, Oh, so, my husband and his partners own a sales rep firm, and they have grown, you know, significantly since, 2020, and I've been lucky to place the majority of this inside sales and sales support and operations people that have worked there, and so we celebrated, at the year-end meeting recently, a lifetime achievement of this gentleman named, Gus, and
Hmm.
Gus and I met over 15 years ago, when I was working in a small boutique agency. He was making $11 an hour at the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
Oh, wow.
His resume was like complete shit, right? But I just, you know, it was one of those spidey senses. And it was at the time where he was like the first person to be hired for like the service part of the business. And,
Hmm.
you know, critical components didn't have a great job description. He didn't have a great
Right.
resume, but I was like, okay, let's have you go over an interview. And anyway, Gus has built an incredible team and is, you know, now about to retire at a very young age with, you know, a couple $1 million in the bank. And he has now had the
Wow.
chance to have that ripple effect on his inside salespeople that are oftentimes like recent grad, entry level, you know, and within 3 to 4 years are making well over, you know, six figures up into the, you know, 200K plus. So it was really
Mhm.
just, you know, one of those moments where you're like, wow, that is just so cool. He gets to, you know, go retire in the mountains. And that just started with, giving him a shot and kind of trusting in what we do, so.
And Rachel actually brings up a great
Yeah, I was
point.
just going to bring
Just
that up. Hi,
yeah.
Rachel.
Hey, Rachel. So seeing that there's paralysis in HR and the adoption of AI, interested in thoughts on why this is happening.
That's a great
Part of
question.
it, yeah. So I'm going to use the pandemic as another example. I got a lot of heat from my HR peeps out there because on a couple of broadcasts I said, it's kind of funny to see how many HR people majored in business and went into HR because they didn't want to do math. Because I was having several people going, how do you do this? How do you do this? And so I was not only doing it in my organization, but also helping other organizations. I think the
Right.
same thing is true in AI. And there's a couple of different things. One part of it is just a mindset of, hey, we've always done things this way. The other aspect of it is understanding that AI sits on top of data. And in every HR organization I've worked, you have the payroll system over here, the HRIS over here, the ATS over here, and none of them talk. So it makes sense why, as a CHRO or as an HR executive or HRBP, I look at AI and go, that would be nice. But then I look at the quagmire of data and technology that I have now, my brain shuts down. I think that's
Right.
part of the reason.
Mm-hmm.
The other reason is there's a lot of perceived risk because of a lack of knowledge of how AI can actually work. They think, well, we can't go and put all of this stuff on AI because then AI will have access to all the information. That is true if you put it on ChatGPT or if you put it on Google Gemini. But you can actually build AI platforms that sit in your secured environment, that sit on top of your information and brings all of this stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really have to be a technologist now with agentic AI. So I am a nerd. I like to try to learn new things. And whenever it comes to coding, my brain shuts down. It's almost like whenever someone pulls the hood of a car open, I look at it, my brain just shuts down. Now,
Yeah.
amortize a loan for 30 years, I can do it in my head. It's just my brain works differently, right?
Right.
So I've found this, I've just been on YouTube trying to learn, trying to follow people. And this weekend, I actually built not one, but 4 agents, AI agents that
Wow.
do analysis, that do research, because my life sits in Notion. So I call it my external brain.
Okay.
So I built something just as simple as a database that whenever I populate the first thing that says topic, it runs through the agent. The agent will go and research it. It will go and compartmentalize the information. It will come back and say, here's the research, here's the recommendations, and it's all
Mm-hmm.
in Notion. So I type in topic and then I go in and I do some other stuff and I
And
come
that's
back and
helpful. I mean,
everything's
like
fully done.
ChatGPT is getting easier to work with sometimes but I wish it had like a searchable, it was more easily searchable from like a topic, because I put in a lot of the same things, and I'm like scrolling down trying to find, I love that, I thought I was fancy because I made my own,
GPT.
ChatGPT for Career
Mhm.
BFF,
And
or,
But
um,
that's good though. That's the first step,
yeah,
is getting out there and, you
trying it.
know, uh, yeah, and what I've been encouraging a lot of HR leaders is just play with ChatGPT. Play. I like Gemini more than I like GPT, and I love Perplexity. So it depends on what my task is. Each one of them is
Mhm.
like having 3 different employees. One's great at research, one's great at analysis, and one's great at just making everything look nice. So depending on what tool you need, serves the function that you're trying to get done. You don't know that
But
until you
back
start
to
playing with it.
Yeah, and so, mindset is be open to exploring and then taking action on
Mhm.
just, trying out the different platforms. I think also when we think of the idea of an AI technology sitting within the infrastructure of an organization, people think about privacy, compliance,
Mhm.
other, risk, because
Bias.
that's a huge priority for HR. And then talent is thinking about the bias side of it as well.
Mhm.
A lot of organizations are like, you can't even run ChatGPT on
Oh,
our
right.
server,
Oh, yeah.
so it can be very polarizing. And I think it would also have to be clearly communicated to existing, associates and part of the onboarding process that like, hey, we're grabbing all of the chat from your Slack or your, Microsoft Messages, etc., and pulling that as into a part of our AI technology for data purposes and improving our whatever business objectives are, right?
Well, and you've already got it with Microsoft and with Google. So you got
Okay.
Microsoft Copilot that already does all of that stuff that
It's
you were
doing
talking
that behind
about.
the scenes anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you've got Gemini. So I've been using
Mhm.
Gemini on my personal workspace and
Mhm.
love it. And now
Okay.
we've got it on our workspace at Hatchworks AI. And, I've been kind of trying to
Okay.
train people. And I know, that hopefully, Rachel, we answered your question. And I want to
Yeah.
take it one step further. Okay. So that's kind of the issue going on with AI and HR. What's also bleeding over is the effects that it's having on culture. So
Mm.
the topic that I'm talking about is something's not like the other: AI, data, and culture. Because a
Mhm.
lot of times people kind of compartmentalize those three
Mhm.
different things, and they think that
Yeah.
culture is going to be strongly affected by AI. It is, but it can also be enhanced by AI. So I
Mhm.
think that one of the things that I'm really excited to kind of talk about is how I'm leveraging like a Google Gem or some of these AI agents to be my data scientist. So I
Yeah.
spend less time cleaning the data, pulling the data, analyzing the data, and I spend more time actually. I call it data chasing, or kind of like chasing rabbits, because I'll ask
Mhm.
one question, and my favorite question to always ask is to the AI agent is, here's my first question, and I want you to provide me highlights of other information that I may not be seeing. And it
Ah.
is absolutely unreal whenever it comes back and I go, well, why is our, this particular age group
Yeah.
responding to surveys this way? And then
Mhm.
I can, if my agent is connected to something like a Perplexity or
Mhm.
I've been using OpenRouter a lot with DeepSeek, it can actually go out and analyze, is this
Yeah.
industry standard? So
Oh,
not
okay.
only how is my information, but how do I stack up against the industry?
Industry. Yeah.
So that that to me, if you think about just that process, okay, so let's
Yeah.
say we needed to do sentiment analysis on a particular department survey, like they ask 4 questions: how are you
Mhm.
doing? Are you supported? Do you like your manager? Are they supporting you? And something
Right.
else. So you have a scale, which is the quantitative data. Fantastic. You can put that in a bar chart. Doesn't take a lot of
Mhm.
time. But
Yeah.
then the leader says, but why are we down in this particular area? Then you've got to go and analyze all of this tech stuff. So if you've got 500 some odd responses for that department, that's going to take a lot of time. Now
Mhm.
I can go and take that, put that in an agent, and say, do sentiment analysis for this department in this particular, whatever the question is. And I want
Yeah.
you to create me in a word cloud. What comes up the most?
Very cool. Yeah.
I
I
can do
love
that
that.
in two
One of the
minutes.
Go ahead.
I said, and I can do that in 2 minutes versus the 2 days that it normally used to take.
Yeah. Or having to be like, "Hey, I know you're really good with data."
Hmm.
I
Right.
used to
Yeah,
always be like besties with my HR tech, talent tech people because,
absolutely.
I am not the person that's exporting and manipulating data. One thing that came up for me as, I would say newer in exploring all this than that you had said I need to think about as far as like a resource for your session, as far as, like basic 101, like what are your top 10 favorite prompts? I mean, you put out such awesome newsletters and content, and maybe you've already done that. But I just thought that would be like an easy resource, especially for, teams that are just being like, okay, I'm going to start.
Yep. So one of the things, I thank you for, what was it, Talk
And then
Dot,
you're
I
also
think.
bringing some of your books too, right?
Yeah, yeah, bringing in a couple of books for people that ask great questions because I like interaction, and I will have a QR code that you can go and download
A bunch of
Google Gems,
resources.
like a step
Okay.
by step. You can also see it on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Human Capitalist. Anytime I try to learn something, I try to throw it out there. So the
Yeah.
quality, Like this kind of stuff, I'm perfectly okay on camera. Whenever the camera comes on and there's no one around, it's like, did it. And I make my
You're so
husband,
hard on yourself about that, I swear.
oh my gosh.
And
But I put it,
I look at you
I'm,
and I'm like, he's such a pro. I want to be like Trent,
oh
you
God,
know?
if you only knew the bloopers and how many times I drop the F-bomb and just hit cancel. But whenever we do it,
You're like,
because both
"Ugh."
my husband and I kind of do, like he does art stuff on the weekends. It's kind of like
Yeah.
his side gig. So, but I make him put in his noise cancellation stuff, which he does anyway, because I don't want him to hear, like if I know that he heard me make a mistake, it just makes it worse. But nonetheless, I do try to put out a lot of content out there,
Yeah.
and I show you how easy it is, and I even show you the mistakes and go, well, damn, all right, how do we fix
Yeah,
this?
that's great. Yeah, like learning together is everything. Let's say hi to our buddy Gregory.
Hey, Gregory,
He's been shoveling snow in
and you keep
Winnipeg.
that
I hear it's
stuff
like
up there.
-30 there, something crazy.
Yeah, keep it up
And
there.
then Lee Anthony, hi, welcome. Do you ever take an answer
Oh,
from
absolutely,
Yes, yeah.
absolutely. Um, so if I'm looking for just straight analysis, ChatGPT is pretty decent at it. If I
Mhm.
am looking at doing some deep research, I will actually use Gemini because one of the models is deep research, and it really goes in and only looks at cited material and gives you all the annotations, which I love.
Uh-huh.
So, and then Perplexity does kind of a different level of that. So a lot of times, if I'm doing a research or a white paper, I start in deep research with Gemini. I go and put
Okay.
it into Perplexity. And then I actually will go and put it into Claude and say, hey, can you put this in a format that would be easy to read? So I'm using three different
Mhm.
tools because the
Right.
three different strengths that they have. So
Awesome.
absolutely, Lee. Yeah.
Yeah. Lee, you're in Atlanta. You should join us at Evolve or join us in collaboration with your HR and talent teams. It looks like
Yeah.
he's focused on workflow optimization and is
Oh,
adopting AI. So we would love to have you.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
Lee, if you're looking at, if you're not a developer, I am not a developer. My brain shuts down with that kind of stuff. But check out N8N. It's called Nathan. It's a fantastic automation AI agent. That's what I learned over the weekend. And I've spent time with things like Cursor and things like make.com. And my brain would just, I would get so incredibly frustrated because I couldn't get it to work.
Mhm.
Nathan is a lot easier to use, and there's a ton of resources on YouTube to kind of help walk you through it. It's definitely
Nice.
something worth checking out.
Look at that. I love how you're just open to, you know, learning as by experimenting and trial and putting it out there. I think that speaks volumes about your expertise and your personality because none of us have this thing whole figured out, and we're
No,
all learning as we go. So I can't wait. I can't believe like 8 days
I
away
know it's right around the
until
corner.
Evolve. I thought today was Thursday too. I woke up and I was like, oh, it's a week away. I was like, oh, it's only 8 days. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. The
So
the program Lee was in
let
eight,
me
the number eight, and in
let me put it.
Nathan.com.
Did I do that right? I'll actually put it in a
Yes,
banner. How about that?
it's just
N
N8 one N.
N8N. Okay. Tell me if that's right. Uh
That is it. Yep,
all
that's
right.
it.
There you go.
And if you go on YouTube and just search Nathan, they'll you'll have all kinds of walkthroughs. So it's pretty
There
easy
you
to
go.
use. But if you
Perfect.
have a particular question or something, Lee, just ping me on LinkedIn and we can try to work on it together.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm super excited to have you at Evolve. Anyone in Atlanta, that is a people leader, we still have about 15, 20 tickets left. So join us. Now that we're having this polar vortex and crazy weather, I am hoping none of this will continue into the
Same.
last Thursday of the month. But come learn with us, come build community, come celebrate my 50th birthday with me, and meet some of the amazing, incredible people like Trent that I have recruited to support this endeavor. And we look forward to, having everyone. So Trent, you want to take us out and say goodbye to everybody?
Sign up today, and we will see you next week, and we will transform our industry together.
There we go. Everybody have a great day. Trent, thank you so much for joining, and sorry for the delay.
Anytime.